spoke to?
Yes, Sunday.
Okay, the problem is, I obviously spoke to the doctor, right?
Ich habe mit Operation beim letzten Mal gesprochen. Der Operateur wollte sich per Mail mit in Verbindung setzen und ihm dann Bescheid sagen. Ich habe ihn gerade angerufen, er hat es nicht gemacht und er will jetzt auch nicht mit ihm sprechen. Er hat gesagt, er meldet sich per Mail.
Okay.
So I called several times to find out what was going on. So I had an extensive conversation with him, massive complaint. He said he would deal with it immediately and send me an email that night. Right. He did not do that.
No, so he told me he wanted to write you an email and he didn't do it this time yet, so
right.
He will do it.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, I'm not traveling 2 hours because I called again and someone said if there is such a mix-up, you have to speak to the professor downstairs. I've now traveled 2 hours. I knocked on his door.
But I told you first write an email to my professor.
I don't have the email.
But I
gave me your name.
Yeah, the secretarian email.
Right. And I got no reply. So
okay, so maybe, but we are doctors. We have to work every day.
Yeah, but I can't come into the hospital and be assaulted.
Operation room, so
why would he ask me to wait outside his door for 20 minutes and then not open the door?
Who?
I was stood there. There's a guy came out, I said, can I talk to him? He said, yeah, no problem. I'm stood there for 20 minutes. To the point, I then go back down for the information. They say, no, you have to go to the secretary's door for Dr. Rodolph. She wouldn't open the door. I'm sent back up here. I've already been here for an hour and not spoken to anyone.
But do you have an appointment with my professor? Or?
No.
Yeah, but the point is, I called several times. He didn't do what he said he's going to do. When I arrived here, he said, wait outside my door. So I waited outside his door for 20 minutes. I knocked again. So someone came out and spoke to me and said, yes, he'll talk to you. Okay. So I'm just stood like this for 20 minutes. I then go back down to information. Information's like, I don't know what's going on. This is a disaster. Go back to the professor secretary. She won't even open her door to talk to me. She's a secretary.
Yeah, but if you don't have an appointment with my chief, he's in the operation theater, so...
There's got to be someone here to talk to. The complaint I said to him was horrific. Even he said it's horrific. I've traveled 2 hours to get back here. I'm leaving the area.
What's your problem? What's
yes, but it needs to be talked to a doctor in privacy. He noted down several horrendous points that happened whilst I was here and promised me an email, which he did not deliver. I'm not leaving it just a case of, oh, we'll give it to you whenever. It was a very serious complaint. Very, very serious. To put my health in jeopardy. So he also agreed to that. And he didn't do what he said. I just stood outside for 20 minutes. It wasn't a case of I don't have time to talk to you. I stood there for 20 minutes doing nothing. You can talk to me today. One of them can. I'm not leaving. Since I've been here, I've been sent all over this hospital. To be treated like, go home? No. No.
So, but what can I do now?
Right.
I can just call him again.
If he's already said he will talk to me, I think he should. The guy came out and said, go grab your things and stand outside the door. Which I did. I was sat here and stood out there.
Now you mean Dr. Jungmann?
Yes.
Okay. I can call him.
Please, because it's just...
At that moment he's in the operation theater, so...
He was totally there when I was there. I feel like I'm getting...
Okay, I didn't.
Can we go to his room now, please?
To his room?
Just ask him if he'll talk to me. He was
I
going...
can call him.
But why can't you go to his room? I'm being fobbed off because of the complaint I made, 100%. He didn't give me his email. And he didn't send me his email that he promised.
Very cool. Ja, mein Lieber, ich muss mal ganz kurz anrufen wegen dem Herrn. Okay, nee, ich sage nichts, okay? Oh, okay. Okay, he said he will write you an email, but there's no time to talk to you now. He's in the operation theater.
Can I tell you what happened privately?
Yeah. Just a second. But I also have to go to the operating theater.
Yes.
And I can give you 5 minutes.
And I also have my life to get back. You know what I mean?
Okay, just
So,
tell me.
are you the chief nurse?
No, I'm a doctor.
Oh, you're a doctor. Okay.
I'm a specialist for urology.
Okay, so you're like the gentleman I spoke to.
So
So you're on the same level as the gentleman I spoke to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you tell me if you think you'd be happy with this, not as a doctor, just as a human being, right?
Yeah.
So I arrived in this clinic because I went to a doctor.
I know the
hit the background. Right. So the first doctor that I saw was fantastic. His English wasn't great, but real gentleman, super nice.
Dr. Nikolov, I think.
Nikolov, yes. Very, very nice guy. So they organized me the room. The problem started is when he disengaged. Because the female doctor who was here with the ponytail, I can't remember her name, but with the glasses.
Blondeau, I think, yeah.
Sorry?
Blondeau.
Okay,
It's a
Blondeau.
French name, yeah.
Okay. So what happened is and this is where it started to go wrong, and there's 2 other patients in the room, right? Get ready for your operation. Okay, fine. So I go down for my operation. As I'm down there, one of the Frau nurses is stabbing my arm 5 times to find blood. There's blood dripping down my arm.
But that can happen.
Hold
That
on.
can happen, yeah.
She finally gets blood. I'm like, ow, shut up. First of all, I don't think that's appropriate. The anesthetist said, are you ready to go? I said, yes, I'm ready to go. Everyone, before she puts the mask on, everybody's laughing in the room. I'm like, why is everybody laughing? I'm quite nervous. Then puts the mask on. I don't think that's appropriate to be laughing and then stop. So I have my operation. I come out. Everybody's laughing. I'm like, is there anything I'm missing that like everyone finds hilarious about me that I'm not understanding? I said, if you don't mind, can you please stop? And they stopped. That's bizarre behavior. I then came up to the room. The 2 elderly gentlemen who were in my room were very nice. They actually, the one on the right hand side said, I'm actually sorry for the way you're being treated, because it became to the point I wasn't given food during the day. He had to ask the night nurse to give me food. On the day that I was leaving, they put the food in the furthest part of the corner and went, bon appetit, Mr. Fraser. And the actual German guy came over and gave me my food. Even more importantly, when I had the catheter, I had a problem with the catheter. It wouldn't work and there was urine all over the place.
That's typical, yeah.
Okay, but I asked the nurses to fix it. The patient then went and spoke to them and they refused to fix it. So there's now me and another patient in the toilet trying to fix my catheter. That's massively inappropriate.
But what do you mean with fixing the
It
catheter?
wouldn't work properly. There was urine coming out the top, there was urine leaking out the back, there was urine leaking out the front. It was getting too full, it wouldn't empty, the urine was going backwards. I said, oh, this is getting quite dangerous. The whole time.
It's not dangerous. That's
Okay.
typical for a catheter.
But if I ask the nurse, or even if it's to the point of the other patient is saying, please can you do something with his catheter, and they refuse to even talk to me, that's not appropriate. Okay. Then I was given no discharge notes. Then a friend of mine came to get me, right? And actually he turned out to be a nurse. He's a nurse. I was given no medication on leave, no discharge notes. The female doctor who was looking at me, well, for the 2 days I was here, I said, I just need to make a quick phone call so my friend can come and get me. I was refused to use the telephone. It actually got that bad. Do you know how you have your IV drip? The nurses wouldn't take the IV drip out. The nurse who actually came and got me, because I had to use one of the other patients' phones to phone my friend to come and get me because they wouldn't let me use a phone, actually came up and said, why haven't they given you your discharge notes? I said, the last time I spoke to either a doctor or a nurse here was that blonde one. She became very aggressive. This is my hospital. I'm the doctor. You do what I say. I said, can I ask a question? I said, yes. I said, who did my operation? She said, the chief of staff. I was like, okay. When I spoke to a young man, your doctor, that's not true. He didn't do the operation. He looked up who did the operation. It wasn't the chief of staff. So she's like, I don't know why she lied to you. Then she actually went to the point of...
You know, that's a problem between English and German. Chief of staff, and we all often say chief of staff, but we mean the Oberarzt in German. Not the chief doctor.
Her English is very, very good.
Yeah, I know.
To the point, her English is very good. To the point she said, get out my hospital.
Okay.
So, you know, we're not going to do the language barrier thing. So, all it was, I never had my leaving notes. I was supposed to be getting medication to leave. I never got it. They were willing to let me walk out the hospital with an IV drip, to the point my nurse, my friend said, absolutely not. He had to go and talk to them and say, for God's sake, take his IV drip out. They're all laughing and giggling in the nurse's room, to the point, ripping out my arm. My friend, who's a nurse, had to go and get the spray and stem the bleeding. He was the one that put the patch over my arm. He doesn't even work here. So then I left, and the other thing is that I have a big legal battle with my employer, right? It's so inappropriate that the female doctor knew that, and she's mocking me in the fact that I might or may not be employed, and do you want to use our telephone because you might not have any money? You can't talk to patients like that. I'm sorry. So the points I made to him, and I would like an email of either you or him, so I don't want to leave with nothing. I told him, when I arrived here, the guy was great. No complaints about him, whatever. Super nice guy. He did everything great. What happened was, when I went into anesthetic, you're laughing at a patient twice. It's not okay.
Absolutely.
It's not okay. And I'm nervous anyway. And when I actually said, please stop, that's when they stopped. So they are laughing at me. So then when I come to the room, the two elderly German guys were actually really nice guys, and we were talking. For them to get to the point of never having met me before and apologizing for my treatment, and one of the guys was older and could hardly walk, so the room was, normally you put on those desk things, right? The nurse came in, put it in the furthest part of the room. Bon appetit, Mr. Fraser. I'm like, I looked at the German guy and he said, I'm very, very sorry, I don't know why you're being treated like this. So something was clearly wrong if a complete bystander who doesn't know me was like, I'm really sorry.
Okay, that's surprising for me, really. I mean,
I wouldn't
some
travel
points
2
I'm
hours.
with you. In some points I'm with you.
I would not travel on a Deutschbahn twice just to make a fluff complaint.
We have to talk about it.
But that's actually dangerous. The IV, the medication, the discharge notes, and mocking me about
notes, that's really surprising me, because that's standard in our house, that you give it.
But doctor, I don't mean to interrupt. It got to the point of when that Dr. Blow, I don't know if I'm pronouncing her, it deteriorated so badly because she was mocking me about my financial situation, my employment situation. I've delivered...
I don't think so, because we have a lot of patients.
Sir, I wouldn't make it up. What happened was, I've delivered $5 billion. The accommodation was the problem, right? Because I said, I'm jumping all over Germany, so my accommodation is a problem. That's how the money aspect came up. That's why I needed to use the phone. So she was making inappropriate comments about that. And I just said, you know, time out, I just want to get my stuff and go. And she said, I'm the doctor, you've had your operation, get out. So she left, and it got to the point, I'll be honest with you, I couldn't actually physically go and talk to the nurses. The guy who came and got me, who is a nurse, had to go and communicate.
I understand.
And even when I communicated, I still didn't get my medication to leave, right?
But which medication?
What they said is they needed, because I had painkiller, it was 2 medications.
Painkillers or what? Okay.
Okay, so there was a painkiller and something else. I can't remember what the other one was.
Maybe for the stomach, so.
Right, okay. So what was happening is, every 2 minutes, nurses were contradicting each other, and then saying, no, it's coming from Blondo. She came in and went, you know what, you're not using our telephone, if you've got an accommodation problem, that's your problem, and get out my hospital.
Okay.
I mean, I was spoken to like a dog. Okay, you leave. But on a medical level, to not come back with the discharge notes, the medication, and the IV, that's dangerous.
Okay.
That's
So
what I got a
we
problem
have to
with.
talk about this.
Right, and
Yeah, right.
now you understand why I wanted to,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I'm not
But I
gonna,
think the
I left at 8 o'clock this morning to
Yeah.
try to come here. I'm not gonna ruin my day just for the hell of it.
I think the problem is maybe Dr. Jungmann didn't talk to all the doctors which were
The problem started.
in all this therapy
The
parts.
problem started
So
with
I think,
blonde.
yeah, I think he has to talk with her.
It
Maybe
was
he didn't
brutal.
do this now. So
And this is my concern, because he took my details, and I promise you I'll email you either tonight or tomorrow. I didn't get it. That's why I then made the
Okay.
phone call. I'm already under a tremendous amount of stress with my legal battle.
okay.
The last thing I need is to even have this conversation. But it became so aggressive and abusive. What happened was I went and spoke to a nurse and a doctor anonymously in another hospital, and I explained what happened, and they're like, 100% you have to make a complaint. Not only on a personal level, but medically that can't happen. So,
I understand.
right,
Okay.
now you understand me.
Yeah.
I'm not
I will
making
talk to
noise
him.
just for the sake of
I
it.
will talk to him. He has to talk to Dr. Blondeau and to the nurses and
I don't know these
anesthetic
people, I've
nurses,
never
of
met them
course.
before.
And then I think we will have to get better and better every day. Maybe there's
No,
really
but I really want to make a written complaint though. And the thing is, he has all my details. I would like to be, well, if you have a card or he has a card or an email, so I can start the process, because the last thing I need is for nothing to, he promised me, he's already broken his promise. I'm quite happy to just list what happened on an email to you, or copy him in or whatever, and please start the process, because I don't, with all due respect to you, I don't work here. If the process is not improved, it was targeted at me because they didn't treat the other two gentlemen like that. For the other gentleman to actually apologize, it was almost
It's
personal.
not okay. But it's the first time I heard this, so I hear this. We really never had problems like this.
I know, but doctor, there's
Not
always
with
a first.
homeless patients, not with any foreigners or whatever. We are Catholic
That doesn't
house.
mean
And
anything to me.
normally we really
Listen,
have
I've
no
worked at
problems
Bank of
in this
America.
relationship.
I'm getting frustrated, right? Because that's a generic standard answer. I've
Yeah.
worked at Bank of America, much bigger organizations than this. I've delivered $5 billion by the time I was in my early 30s. Anytime something goes really wrong, the standard answer is, and I'm not drilling you, but well, that's never happened before. It's very unusual. Listen, I've been in banks where things are not supposed to go wrong. They go wrong every single day. You just
Okay.
don't say it does. I've worked in governments. Things have gone horrendously wrong. But,
Yeah,
well,
of
that's the
course.
first time I've heard of it. Listen, I've done in sales. I know the response. We'll improve our processes. No, I would like to write an email after this conversation because it was dangerous.
But I promise you, I will talk to Dr. Jungmann.
I understand
He
that.
has to do
He has to,
what
yes.
he has to do now. And
But can I leave, not with a generic email, because I've already tried an email and it didn't work. Can I either email you and list it? I would. He gave me nothing.
yeah,
He gave me absolutely
the only
nothing.
email we have for our secretary, I'm just an assistant doctor, so I can't help you maybe. But I give you an email. Just a second. We
No,
have
but
a card. We have a-
one second. Everybody in the hospital has an email. Everybody. I've been told.
Yeah, but
So, can I get his email? He took my email. He took my email, he didn't give me his
he
email.
has an email, yeah, of course.
I think that's,
I can-
considering he said he would take ownership of it, he took my details, he gave me nothing. He made a promise and broke it.
Give me a second.
Okay.
So, this is our official card. Yeah. This is my chief doctor.
Yes.
This is the name of Dr. Jungmann. And you see, it's always here, the name at Malteser.org. Okay?
So one last thing I'll say is, you understand why I was getting frustrated in there, because I told him pretty much what I told you.
Yeah.
His response was, "Oh my God, I'm with you on a lot of these points. It's horrendous. We have to do something."
Yeah.
He made a promise. He then didn't keep his promise. And then made a few phone calls, told to come back, made to wait outside his door 20 minutes because he'll talk to me. Then I'm sent to the chief force, and now the reason I became angry was it became clear to me like I'm getting fobbed off here. You know what I mean? If you make a promise, break it. Don't give your details. Say you'll talk to me outside your door, and then you can't talk to me. When he knows I've traveled 2 hours by Deutschbahn, it doesn't give you a great impression, does it, that he's going to deal with it? That's why I need the email, and I'll be honest with you, this is a hospital. Right?
Yes.
It doesn't matter where you are. In a hospital, you cannot be treated like that. Purely on a medical perspective, the arm thing, there's not a whole lot about that, but it was the response. Shut up. Can't talk like that. The laughter, the no medical report,
I understand.
no medication, and the IV drip, and just...
About that, I'm absolutely with you.
The food thing is bizarre. And the catheter, I'll be honest with you. You know what? Let's say you're my doctor or my nurse, and I'm saying I'm in a lot of pain, there's something wrong with the catheter, and 4 nurses just decide to do nothing. One of the other... So if you think about it, I'm in a toilet with a total stranger trying to fix my catheter when there's 5 nurses who won't do anything. It's not appropriate.
Yeah. Okay. I promise you that I will talk to him again.
Please. I really...
Okay.
I'm on tens of thousands here, not that this woman needs to know that, but it's none of her business who I work for, what my work situation is. Can't do that.
I understand.
Would you be happy with that, if that happened to you?
I wouldn't be happy.
Right.
But, yeah.
You just can't do that. I've been in hospitals around the world, you can't behave like that. So, like, a personal attack and the medical side of it. I really don't know what happened. The guy that I know who's a nurse said on a medical level, well, let's say your friend turns up and I'm going to go. Let's say you've been to you're a doctor, you know what goes on, right? Let's say you're about to leave and you don't get the medication, you don't get discharge notes. You know that's wrong because you're a doctor. If you have the IV drip in your arm, they rip it out your arm to the point it's bleeding, and your friend, who's a nurse, is asking for swabs and disinfectant to dab down your arm because the nurses wouldn't do that, would you be happy? Just that one aspect alone.
I wouldn't be happy.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. Like, there's no way I would travel all this way for nothing.
I understand the problem, and we have to talk about it, and that's not the...
That's not how we like that. Anyone. No, anyone like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand. That's okay. And
all I can do
is to talk to him. Okay, he's my chief, so I have the problem. I can't.
Okay, well,